sign up.
Okay.
And then once we start to do the program, once the program is implemented into the neighborhood, that's when kids from the neighborhood join.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get consent from their parents, and then I meet them wherever I met them at, and I
Mm-hmm.
make sure that they're able to go to our next location.
Yeah. So when it comes down to like the 8 week sessions, I like that y'all breaking it down into the 8 week sessions because you get enough time, but then it's also not too much time and wear and tear on you and what you got going on in other spaces. Uh, what are some of the 8 week sessions that you do, and like which ones do you feel like the most important? So I'd love to hear these.
So we had most of our 8 week sessions were basically based on every last one of them was based around conditioning.
Okay.
We had a 1 mile run every time we met. We only met on Mondays and Saturdays for 8 weeks,
Hmm.
and then our most valuable one, I believe, would have to be the gun safety training
Nice.
that we had our youth engage in. Shout out
Nice.
to Prolific Arms
Okay. Yeah.
for
Prolific. Yeah.
coming
Shout out to
out
them.
and teaching our youth, how to handle firearms and gun safety training. Shout out to Butler,
Hmm.
Ajamu Butler,
Okay. Yeah. No
for,
doubt.
for coming out as well with Prolific Arms. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So you got the definitely got the gun. So yes, sir. a couple little right, a couple little snacks, right? That's for later on snacks. Shout out to Mr. Smith over here for bringing a couple little goodies in for sure. So when it comes to the do you do, and I'm always worried concerned with the youth. Have you seen a lot of them interested in the swimming sessions, and how's that? Do you do a swimming session?
So we don't do a swimming session, but we did do kayaking and canoeing.
Okay, so how was the kayaking?
Kayaking and canoeing was it was amazing. It was the last day for them to be able to we ran this trail. Let me just bring y'all back. So we ran this trail in the back of Riverside every day.
Okay.
When we met up, and I taught them how to navigate through the woods, and I taught them north, south, east, and west, and we taught them actual environmental navigation skills. How the land breaks down, and we actually tracked a deer.
Okay.
And then we tracked a multiple deer. At one point, the deer was actually nursing. So I had 15 youth crouching, in the woods and tracking this deer. And when we finally got up to it, they were so quiet. They did such a great job that they were able to see the deer nurse. And that's something that
Yeah.
you don't normally
Yeah.
see. And
Yeah.
that's these
Especially
kids are
from
from Burleigh.
yeah, I was
They're
about to
from the
say
east side, and
yeah.
you know what I'm
They don't
saying.
know
It's
what's in
not,
the
yeah.
backyard. They don't know that they nursing deer right behind
So
when the switch is going off. It's two deer in the
yeah,
woods.
yeah. So this was something different for our youth, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
like
man,
that.
I try to teach them as many things that I think I've learned
Yeah.
being in the wilderness.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I definitely could say that growing up and having my time like on the trails, like I could say I didn't have that much time with my dad in a lot of spaces, but one thing he did show me when I was really young was like the trails in Milwaukee. So I was able to pass some of those trails and them opportunities to go on some of those like the Estabrook Park trails, some of the trails of Clutch, some of them weird trails along the lake. He
yeah,
took me a lot of them when I was real young in the early 90s. So as I got older, like I started showing like some of the people and like my cousin side of the family when they used to have their reunions, I would show them like, man, there's some trails down here. My dad showed me in places that we go down, and he showed me he made like a little raft for like a snapping turtle and put the snapping turtle out there so it could get back in the water. So little stuff like that. You just
yeah,
your little peaceful nature things, man. It kind of like give you it does give them a different view, and you showing them that you definitely establishes something where they're gonna take that in the future, and when they start doing their own organizations and having their families, they'll be like, yeah, I remember when Mr. Smith took me over here to do this trail
yeah,
and seeing a deer nursing for the first
yeah.
time.
And I was actually their commander. So this was a boot camp, and
Okay.
our program is Revolution Ready.
Okay.
So we were basically just training our youth on how to be able to protect themselves in any type of environment.
Yeah.
Not only just that, how to survive.
Yeah.
If it ever came time for them to have to defend their communities, how would they do so?
Yeah.
And if it ever came time that the government stopped supplying food, how would you survive?
Yeah.
So, and we got to think about it. There's kids in suburban areas that actually handle firearms. And they're actually taken to gun ranges, and they're more familiar with firearms. And I think implementing this program for our youth and making sure that they understand how serious it was. was something that we actually took the fun out of handling a firearm. It
Mhm.
wasn't, something that they wanted to do anymore after they engaged in doing so.
Right.
It was certain things where if they mishandled it, I
Mhm.
take the firearm from them and tell them, well, you just shot yourself or you shot somebody. And now, they're looking at it like, dang, like,
Yeah.
you just took that. I just got that. We worked so hard for them to get up to this point. It was 6 weeks before they were even engaging into firearm safety training, gun safety training. So,
Mhm.
you know,
I like that. I like that. You got to get them mentally prepared. Like you're saying, you're showing them the real consequence of that is just this heavy artillery piece. It can change your whole life.
yeah.
We seen people where they got shot when they were young, and you 12 to 14 or younger, and they got some type of disability because of a firearm incident when they was young. We heard it from anywhere from our neighborhoods all the way up through celebrities who had to deal with things, and I think that's a great reminder. Doing it at young. As they get older, they'll take dealing with firearms way more serious, especially bringing on somebody established like a prolific firearms as well.
Hmm.
I know you got some other things going on, and it makes before we get to that, we still got enough time with you. How is it's been a lot of things going on, and I've been having different community leaders and individuals in here just speaking about how they felt about what's going on in the community across the city, and you dealing with that youth. You work with that same age. You've had events for that same age groups and for those youth that's been down there at Water Street. I'm sure that's not the ones that's been causing the ruckus, but the ones that go enjoy themselves. Um, how's it been for you and what you've been seeing going on in the city, and what's your point of view? I haven't really heard you speak too much on that. I've seen you doing the work, but I really haven't heard you do the interview too much because you do a lot with these age groups.
It's a lot of finger pointing. Let's just address that first. It's a lot of finger pointing. We need this, we need that, we need this, we need that. And I think that's stagnant behavior. I think we more so need to be engaged in it. If we have a solution, I think we should be that solution. I don't think we should say what the change is. I think we should be a part of the change, and I think it's not as hard as we think it is. When I was growing up, we had OGs on the block. Like it was just certain things you just couldn't do around somebody that was an adult. And I think we forgot that. And I feel like now that they're engaging more in our mix and being around our places of where we party and our venues, they're ending up out late nights. It's just that we don't say enough to them,
Yeah.
and I think that's where it starts. It has to be a community effort as well, because if they're not learning it at home, that doesn't mean that they don't deserve to learn it. And I remember having a lot of things being corrected outside of home. You get street smarts from being in the streets and understanding how to survive in the streets, but you use that wit that you're given from the OGs. That's how you gain it, more than anything. It wasn't making the mistakes in the streets that was actually the way, you change your life. But it's more so the corrective nature of the corrective nurture from somebody on the block that's like, hey man, don't do that. Don't walk down here with no ski mask on. You know what I'm saying? Like that make the block hot.
Mhm.
Don't be throwing stuff down in front of my grandma's house. She gonna have to clean that up. We gonna have to clean that up. You know what I'm saying? It's just things like that. I mean, we get too comfortable with letting them be who they are right now, and it's just it's becoming they're becoming what they listen to, and they're not knowing that is that makes them look a certain type of way. To them, it's cool. So we have to break it down that it's not cool. It's not cool to add to to inflict fear in somebody because you want to give off a certain persona.
All
It's
right.
not cool to have a ski mask on and come down the block with a elderly person and have them terrified to walk past you. It's
Right.
not cool.
No.
It's just not cool. It's not cool to put your hands in your pants while you walking past somebody to look like you have a gun.
Yeah.
It's not cool.
No.
You know what I mean? And a lot of kids there, one of my youth was actually shot. And I had to let him know, that could have happened because you had a ski mask on. Like when I broke it down to him, like, you had a ski mask on? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, and I know y'all be putting your hands in your pants. Like when you walk past that group of individuals, did you, put your hands in your pants or whatever? He like, such and such did. And I'm like, well, that look like y'all, you know what I mean, or
Yeah.
up to something, and it don't look like it's something good. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, a ski mask is to hide your identity, and digging in your pants in the front is,
Yeah.
it's resembling you reaching for a firearm or inflicting some type of danger, and that's not cool.
Mhm.
And I had to let him know, like, that's probably why they shot at y'all, and like he was like, oh, like it's just that type of stuff that I feel like we don't even engage with them enough to let them know.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that, little dude. That's not cool. You know what I mean? You don't have ops. You're
Mm-hmm.
creating that illusion in your head. You're too young to be into it to where somebody wants to take your life. You giving off that impression, that things can escalate to the next level is sometimes how they transition.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, you
Yep.
bring a gun,
That's
then a
real.
gun brings a gun.
Yep.
You speak on these things, and then they become things that come into existence. We have to understand that there's power in the tongue.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. Yeah, and I've seen that too as well. I was watching, and it seemed like it's so many countless stories where I've seen individuals, like we've mentioned, where they've had experiences where they wanted that lifestyle that they just never created. And it's coming really from all angles. It ain't just even like the ones that's just hard or straight in the city, and it's ones that's living in the outskirts. The parents making a hefty, little amount of money, but they got access to, a vehicle. They want to go down, they drive down. And it was the same thing when I was in high school and when you was in high school. It's you got the ones that want that image, but now it's like it's even worse. It's like addicting now. They see it, and that image is like, is blown out of proportion on the radio. Not mainly on the radio, they ain't on radio, but on the internet, they seeing it from different angles from other guys that's on there. You can see it's so trendy because you start hearing what the vehicle is trendy now. All the kids want Hellcats and sports cars. Like you can't, like you want 100, all y'all want $180,000 sports cars, and it's 170,000. And I understand it's nice, you can have those things, but
$2,000 shoes.
yeah. So everybody, and they 14, 15, and then they want to walk around with a ski mask and Balenciagas and a Hellcat, and they think that's the image that's the best image, and it's a wild. Those are wild things to bring together, but it's what they see, and what that's one of the things that they see is popular. There's different levels of that, obviously, but you see it and from so many different angles. You can't even just be like, oh yeah, it's from this side and this side. It's all parts of the cities and different cities across the country that want to they want to have the look of the Pooh Shiesties and things like that. And I mean, a lot of that, I guess, that's what happens when you got a lot of people sitting at home during the pandemic and kids sitting at home to themselves in a space, and they get time to like deep dive into social media, and it creates this new, it comes the third parent, and so to speak,
Yeah.
and it raises you, and you listen to that more than you listen to the two parents that's in the household. That's what I see, and from the ones around me. But what are the youth saying that in that age group from that 16 to 22 that you work with? How are some of the ones that you are close with? Some of the ones you may have seen downtown. Is it just the lack of access to doing things, right? Is that the main thing they say, or what are they saying?
I can always add solutions. Like that's one thing that I'm full of. I'm not gonna sit here and make it seem like it's nothing that we can do for these youth. I can always add solutions. The thing is, are we actually gonna be about the change?
Right.
When I hear what the youth are saying, I always understand them. You know what I mean? I put myself in their shoes first and foremost because I come from an impoverished home. You know what I mean? I come from that. You know what I mean? And I'm blessed today that I'm not in that situation, but I know what it's like. So when I hear what they're saying, I blame us. I solely do. I really feel like, if our community effort was as much as we put into the police budget, into resources for our youth, crime would definitely be down. I don't think we need to put more money into the police than we do the resources for our youth. I feel as though we've tried that hasn't worked, and we need to do something different. I believe it's time to give our youth a chance so we can show that, we do care about them. They are a part of our community. We need to stop blaming them for the things that they have to go through and enduring. If you don't have anything to do, then guess what? You're going to get into mischief. You're not going to sit there and do nothing. The things that are trending around them, it's a lot of mischief, but you have to understand that that's what they're giving. They're giving nothing to do in a creating mindset where they can only engage in doing things bad to be cool. So we have to fix that. I don't see any go-kart rinks in the inner city.
Man, I miss the go
I mean,
karts.
we can add to this. You know what I mean? I don't
Batting
I don't see
cages,
any.
batting cages. We can have
I
a
don't
whole
see
new
any.
MLB.
I don't see
We can have
paintball
MLB coming out of
rinks here.
Milwaukee,
I
out
don't
the
see
hood.
any of these things, given to our youth.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of guns being mishandled by our kids. I see a lot of vehicles being stolen by our youth, and I think it's time that we put an end to that.
Yeah.
Instead of investing in this monorail and this the hop that we got downtown, I think we need to invest in a go-kart rink for our kids that want to drive and go fast. I think we need to invest in a auto mechanics free trading course for our kids you know what I mean, on the track, so they can learn how to build the go-kart and maybe change the wheels on it and be a part of a pit crew or something. I think we need to do things that, will
Create a whole new
engage
lane of
our
talent for
youth
Milwaukee.
more,
Like you talking to the youth and be like, hey, so how did you get into this workout? Well, I started as a kid boy back in 2016,
Yeah.
and now I'm working on the pit crew for Michael Jordan's team with Bubba Wallace. You know what I'm saying? You
Nothing's
never know.
wrong with
You
that.
know what I'm saying? That could be the next level. We could be having a whole pit crews of young youth that worked in that was speeding cars through the city. Now they starting off with their own. I don't care if you're doing drag racing all the way to lap racing, whichever one. If it inspires you to become better, like you said, and create a new opportunity in life, why not? And
That's what we
I'm
need to do.
yeah,
I mean,
man. Look, I don't got that much time with you. Real quick before break, I do want to make sure we get and highlight this backpack event and just tell everybody what's going on, what you got going on with the backpack event before we go on to this break.
so August 13th, 2016, my brother was killed by a Milwaukee police officer. On this day, ever since that day, I've been doing a book bag drive in his honor. So August 13th, now the ninth annual Seville Smith book bag giveaway will be going on at Sherman Park. And it is not like your ordinary book bag drive. So we'll have horses, 20-foot water slide, food provided by Casablancas, food provided by Zaza Steakhouse, Fresh Food Market. We'll be providing food, greens and things. I mean, we just gonna, we gonna feed the community as well as 9 bouncy houses, a life size Connect Four game for us to engage in.
I like that.
I mean, it's just gonna be a fun field event. We got African dancers and drummers that's gonna be there for some cultural experience. Barbers are gonna be in the park cutting the kids' hair. Can't send them to school nappy headed.
Nah, get them right. Get them right. Gotta get them right.
We're gonna have some clothes in the park for the
Nice.
kids. We'll have some brand new shoes. Shout out Jakari Kicks for Kids. He gonna be up in the park making sure y'all kids get fresh. I mean, like I said, this is not your average book bag drive. This is in honor of Seville Smith,
Yeah.
Seville Gang.
Yes, I love that. Keep honoring your brother, man. Look, we'll get you back up in here too sometime before the end of the year. Hopefully, just talk about the things you got going on. Any other shout outs before we get out of here?
Just shout out to all my sponsors, Pitts, Zaza Steakhouse, Zaza Steak Lemonade, BP on Sherman and Burla, the BP on Sherman and Capitol, the Citgo on Sherman and Capitol, Fresh Food Market. Shout out ATK Elbow too, y'all. He gonna be performing at this year's Book Bag Drive. You do not want to miss this. It's going down.
Cool. I appreciate that. Well, we'll be back with Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices. This is Mr. Sedan Smith in the building with us today. We'll be back with the rest of the crew. All right, y'all. Welcome back to Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices. We are back in the mix. More guests. Surprise! We're back. Two great people that I've worked with, and this is more like family versus just working with partnerships. Definitely want to make sure we shout them out. They out here every day doing things, and they also are gonna let us know how everything has been with them. The last Bryce is the last interview with Brandon, and I think this is my first time having Tyrone, ain't it? Yes.
Yes.
Come on in. Like, speak. Don't be shy.
Yes. This is my
Hey.
first time being on here with you.
Okay. Appreciate that for changing that. Thank you, sir. That was okay. Appreciate it. And what's up with you, Miss Tyra? How you doing?
I'm well.
Since
I'm
you
well.
talking, we're gonna have you introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are. And the floor is yours.
Okay. My name is Tyra Merriweather. I am currently the director of the Village Group, nonprofit organization that I sort of inherited from my brother, Keon Jackson Malone. Um, Something he started because of his love for the community
Mm-hmm.
and just wanting to see things better. So he was all about anywhere he could step in and make things better. You know, he had a big voice. He had a lot to say, always, even as a little kid, opinionated and knew how he wanted things to be and how he thought things should be done. So that's how he started with the Village Group, intergenerational conversations, and
Nice.
just he loved Milwaukee and he loved 53206. He loved the area and just wanting to make sure that it was right, that things were right. And so we'd had lots of conversations. I sat on the board and, he always says, is this for you? This for you. I'm doing all of this for you.
Mhm.
And lo and behold, yes, he did. He passed it on. So I am trying my very hardest to continue on with his work,
Mhm.
doing things that he had already established, and then trying to create some more things
Yeah.
throughout the community, trying to focus a little more on the mental health and wellness,
Mhm.
and getting information and resources out to our disadvantaged people who maybe don't have the opportunities to get the right insurance that they need, just making sure that they have all the right resources. So my goal will be basically to focus on a lot of mental health and overall wellness of families.
I like that. I like that. So we're gonna follow up with you. No too much of an introduction. This brother didn't been on, but we like to always make sure that they introduce themselves properly. So, sir, could you let them know who you are as well?
Hey, my name is Brandon Triggs, Executive Director of Helping Kids Better Themselves, or HKBT as we call it. I kind of got in the community organizing. I guess it's in my blood, man. My mama, she kind of helped out our friends and family and all to her detriment sometimes. So, and actually getting involved, I was just doing stuff in the community with some friends sometimes, running basketball camps, teams, and things of that nature. And Keon kind of just pulled us under his wing, me and my guy, little Terry, man, and just said, y'all already doing this stuff, man. Come out here and work with us. And he put the program together, him and Terry, and we took off from there. HKBT kind of started out as like a travel basketball AAU program for the kids when my dad started years ago.
Wow.
And it's now kind of just morphed into this community organization where we kind of help out with resources and do some community violence intervention work with the Milwaukee Promise Keepers and all kind of stuff, man. Helping out with Wisconsin Voices, man, getting people registered to vote, a lot of things, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you got many hats, man. I think, and I always try to tell people, especially other organizations that I work with, I always say, like, add that civic piece into because it all comes back, it all relates. When you think about it, like if we need mental health and things, that's civic still. I got other organizations we work with, and it's like we need to go lobby about this. So I had Melanated Daddy on last week. He mentioned in lobbying for having he want to see more women have that full time or at least a year, and men the mom and dad to have that year off after they have that baby. So that's a lobbying. But those civic engagement aspects, it just it helps, but also it makes you understand how important it is for us to actually get these fundings and get these dollars and get these some of these politicians and people that's in our community leaders aware of organizations like your two organization and what's going on. So what projects or programs, I know that you got the summer program going on. I know you talked about some mental health, and if y'all want to dive in a little bit more into some of your projects, what are some of the projects or programs you currently lead that have the most community impact that you feel? And you can talk to them from any angle that you feel you want to.
I mean, our summer program is pretty much, we collab on our summer programs. I mean, pretty Keon pretty much took care of everything else on the other side of the park, the food and all of that, and I just did the basketball stuff with Lil Terry and some other members from HKBT. But this year, I'm kind of more in charge of the food and the basketball. But Tyra, she brought a whole new dimension to Agassiz Park in the mornings. The 3 days a week she's there. Got splash pads for the kids. Some
Nice.
days it's just always something new and fun and entertaining for the kids to do when she's out there. So she brought another dimension for the kids who kind of weren't interested in what we were doing over there.
That's dope.
And she kind of got them over there, So it kind of brought something back to kind of how the first year was, when we had a lot more activities going on. But we had a little more funding at the time. So we had more activities going on in the park, and Tyra kind of bringing that spirit back.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got the free basketball camp every morning, breakfast and lunch for the kids from 8 to 10. Tyra and her activities, man. So
Yeah.
And then, like we said, the community violence intervention work with the Milwaukee Promise Keepers.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, and I know that's keeping you pretty active, because I know just getting you into the mix of this, getting you on some other events. I'd be like, yeah, Brandon might come. He got some other stuff going on. He obligated early in the morning. So, and Tyra, so we over there getting it in. I know you busy as well in different spaces of your life too. So getting over there and having those days over there, how's that have been for you? And just this new trajectory, which in the Village Group, with your mind and it being on it, as the spearhead more. How's it been for you in that space?
It was. I keep saying that it's part of a healing process.
Mhm.
So it felt really good to be out there.
Mhm.
I was a little worried at first if it was actually, how it was going to work. Is this going to be something that, the kids would even be interested in?
Mhm.
And it worked out. I would like to see next summer us having even more things. I do, like Brandon said in the beginning, I remember it was martial arts, there was tutoring, there was some arts and crafts. So hopefully next year we'll be able to bring all of that stuff back.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, just adding just that variety for our youth is just gonna help them. It just create more of a say a softer image, but just more options for the different spaces in their life. They don't have to always see. You can introduce them to these arts and introduce them to these creative movements that's going to have them pushing towards photography spaces and other artist spaces. The basketball and the weight training and all that is going to push you to make more athletic trainers, which we need more Black athletic trainers. Training our athletes, not just the athletes. We need the trainers, we need the scientists, we need the sports scientists and everything to keep the conditioning, because our bodies are different than other groups when it comes to athletic training and all that. So all these different angles that y'all creating, I just think about that in life. When I took a program when I was younger, or anybody that I know that was in a program, and some of the things that they're doing now. For example, one would be like a Montreal Kane. He was in a lot of events and groups and did a lot of leadership things growing up. And I'm looking at this dude yesterday. I'm like, it aligns. He out there cleaning the gutters across the city. I don't know if they say he hit like 500. I seen 500 something, but I don't know. He did a lot of work yesterday. I know that. But just seeing people like that was involved in groups, or had the opportunity to be engaged in different activities, and how it sharpens. It just adds more to more possibilities. So can you describe any success stories? I like success stories, and I know you got some, and I know Tyra, you got some as well that y'all want to share with us. I don't care if it's from yesterday or 5 weeks ago. Any success stories we got for 2025 that you want to share, B?
My success story would be the lady sitting to my immediate left.
Let's do it.
Like she said, she has some concerns getting into it, and then she kind of just jumped into it, and it seemed like she was a natural. I didn't sense any concerns.
Yeah.
Like it was almost seamless. Like I remember her taking notes sometime, like as the note taker in some of our meetings every now and then a while back at the building on 12th Street. But when she really got out here and really got into the work, I mean, she took off. It was like, we communicate, she get things done. It's like, honestly, it's easier working with her than it is working with Keon. Everybody know how it is working with Keon, man, as much as we love him, man, but you know how it be. So that's the success story. Oh, he know it, man, but
We didn't all have to do a project here with Keon, I think.
We got to hear it his way a million times first, and then, you know what I'm saying, till we figure it out. That's how I go.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And for you, so how you feel? Like you said, this has been that, it's been that space for you to be able to, it be therapeutic. But have you seen it as, that motivating piece as well? Like, have you feel like it's a new charge in behind you? Just like you said, it was nervous getting out there, but was it like a charge in your back? Just, hey, I got, this is honoring my brother. Like, forget all the little stuff I'm feeling. I got to really just engage. Or
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So everything. So even after all that work that we did yesterday, we were tired, we were wet, it was a lot. But by the time I got home, I was already thinking about the next event.
Yeah.
So I even going back to our mental health fair that we did in June, success story, like that being the first thing that I ever, put out there. I think that turned out pretty well. And then yesterday, just seeing the positive things that come out of what we plan. Like we're planning, we're doing it. And then when it finally happens and you see all these people and they're out there and these kids and they're enjoying themselves, that's the successful piece. And that, I got home and I was like, hey, I got another idea.
Yeah.
And so now, yeah.
Juices get the flowing. Once you in the mix like that, it'd be too much. You start seeing the things that need to be fixed up and then done. I done been out with Brandon in events, and Brandon and told us, even on the campaign tip, like, man, B, we need to do this, do that. I'm like, all right, cool, it makes sense. So we just started like from the first one we did. It'd be little things we seen when we did that first run, when we did it, and then you sitting back and everybody in the mix, and you can actually see what's going on. And since he was out in the field being our leader on the field and managing a lot of the team, he was able to bring back in. So that's how it is when you manage yourself at the top and you sitting back. You like, okay, I got an idea how we can fill in the gaps for the next event. So I like that. When it comes to just the overall event, talk about that. I think we got a little time before the first break, about 3 minutes before the first break. How was that? How was just Saturday and just the breaking everything out and just, from both y'all angles? Was it easier this year? I know Brandon, sometimes I can't find Brandon at those events. He be everywhere. And I know last year I couldn't find you because everybody was pulling you everywhere too. So how was it this year? Was y'all able to sit back, or was y'all really hands-on a lot like y'all always are? Yep.
Still pretty much hands-on. Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was successful. I feel like it grew from last year, especially bringing out that new element with the hibachi and all of that stuff out there. So
yeah, see.
Yeah.
Shout out to my guy Lubachi, man. He one of the people from the area too, from the neighborhood. Okay. But yeah, I feel like it kind of grew this year, and it was a successful event. I mean, we had the horse rides for the kids. Jakari got the free tennis shoes from Playmakers and all, hair braiders, haircuts, like hibachi, barbecue. What else going on out there? The mobile spa for the young ladies. Nikki and Pretty Girls
are educated. Pretty Girls are educated. Yep. Yes.
She's from the area also. Like, she literally grew up across the street from the park as well. So it was pretty much a community event, man. A lot of people from the community came and gave back, and that's kind of what made it special as well. Yeah, shout out to
2 horses. Yep.
What was that? Game Changers? Was that Nat and
Nat,
B that brought the beer?
Yes.
Yep. So they always, a lot of people that's always out in the community came and supported. I mean, and like I say, Nat even been in our area for the longest too. So like a lot of people from the area came and really gave back.
Huge shout out to Milwaukee Parks Foundation.
Yes.
Just for everything that they've done to help us continue with this. They also did some funding for us. We were able to get a special bench put out there with Keon's face and
the quote
just a quote on there
when he was sitting in that seat over there.
Yeah, they before he passed, they were working on a grant, and they actually got it, and we got the word of it like a month after that he passed, and so that was part of it. Some more improvements that will be happening at Atkinson Library as well, Atkinson Park as well.
And more specifically with the Parks Foundation, I mean, like Rebecca, and even Adam Carr. I know he's not there anymore, but those two were instrumental in getting everything implemented at the park, all the programs, the funding, the bench. Those two were the main cogs behind everything. And Priscilla Coggs Jones also, though. She did help a lot also.
Yeah.
Shout out to her for that great peach cobbler.
Oh, okay. I didn't know she made that peach
Who,
cobbler.
Priscilla Cox
Thank you,
Jones?
Priscilla.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Shout out to that came over there from the Cox Jones house over there.
Yes.
Yeah. They be
They got a
cooking.
catering service.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
that.
Shout out to
They do.
Cox Catering over there. They be getting it in for sure. All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and take a break, come back with more with Mr. Brandon Triggs and Miss Tyra Merriweather. We're gonna talk to them some more about what's going on in their life and their organizations. Via Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices, WNOV 860 AM 106.5 FM. Back via Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices, 860 AM, 106.5 FM, WNOV. All right. So that recent event in honor of your brother Keon brought a lot of people together. How did your professional role intersect with your personal connection to him when it came down to that? What was you able to, how was it been able to engage with folks that, coming into this loop, you're gonna meet just like how I slid into the working in community more. You've met so many great people and so many people I don't feel like I'm closer to than people I've known for years. How has it been in the last, I'm gonna say maybe what you want to say 2 years or more year or so or less of just really engaging, and how does that been intersecting with everything else in your life?
So, Keon knew so many people. He had
Yeah.
connections for everything. That was my all around go to guy. If I said I need to know, he would just right away. He knew
Mm-hmm.
somebody, and so that he left that. I always say he left me with a lot of good people. Just those contacts and knowing different people. It's I'll say I'm Keon's sister, and they're like, oh, okay, we can work that out. We can work
Mm-hmm.
that out. So it has been a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people, but good people.
Mm-hmm.
Getting into some things, branching out, stepping out of my comfort zone. I'm an educator, so
Mm-hmm.
that's where you spend a whole lot of time
Yeah, thank you
there.
for coming because I know you're in prep season,
we
prep
are,
mode right now.
we are.
So
They
thank
may
you for
be
really coming. I appreciate that.
they may be listening to me right now, like you're supposed to be here. But yeah, that's where a lot of my time and energy, was spent. But stepping out of that comfort zone and being able to, because I see it when I'm at work,
Mhm.
working with middle and high school. I see the things that are going on, in the building.
Mhm.
Now I'm outside and I'm getting a chance to
Mhm.
do something about the things that I see and hear with the kids. Because Keon would come in. He
Mhm.
he sat in my office. There was a chair many a day. He even had the food pantry out of my office for a little while. Like he
Mhm.
was always in there. But now I get to come on the outside and do something else, something more.
Yeah, it's a blessing. I like to hear that. All right, going over to you, Mr. Trigg. So you work close with Keon in the past, of course, as well. And I've seen a lot of moments just working with y'all, and y'all were hilarious together. What professional qualities of his do you think made him stand out?
I think he stood out just because of his determination to get stuff done and just the type of person he was. He was a people person, man. Like he said, his Rolodex was so long, man. He connected with everybody in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, he tapped me in
Like,
with plenty of people.
like, and once you connect with him, he ain't let you go, bro. It's like, yeah, we might bump heads, y'all might bump heads, everybody probably bump heads with him, but at the end of the day, he's not letting you fall, man. He's not letting you go. He got your back to the end. And I think that's one of the qualities that I picked up as well from him.
Yeah. Yeah, just really just fighting through and just working with the folks, even when it hurts. And we be tested. You know what I'm saying? You got folks that just want to test you from the organizations we work internally into and the ones we connect with. That was a great little segue question. So since you speaking in that space, what's can and we'll go to you first, and then maybe Tyra may want to answer behind that. So what can other organizations learn from the way you and Keon approach community engagement? That's a good question right
I
there, man.
mean, I don't really know what it is to learn, man, because when you just do it because it needs to be done and you do it out of love from the bottom of your heart,
Ain't
man,
nothing.
it's like ain't nothing else to do but do it because you love it. You know what I'm saying? Treat it like you love it. And good things to come about of it. So if I say if there's anything to learn, just make sure you have that passion for it when you get into it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we always say, and I'll always say it, and I'm sure they'll hear it sound like a broken record. You may not see their approach to it. You may not have the mental health approach like the Village Group. You may not have the helping kids better themselves athletic approach. You may not have some of our other partners, Daddy Doula or the Lupus has no face. But there's a approach. There's a space for you that if you're passionate about it, if you love your community, if you love the city of Milwaukee, like so many of you have said that I meet and know and run into. I want to shout out the lady. I don't know her name, but she said she listens to all the station shows in the morning. I met you at Bastille Days some weeks ago, but she was somebody who just loved the community. There's a space for you. I think she already is passionate about mental health. There's so many areas that we can all find a way to contribute to our city to make it shine in the spaces. We all live in different areas and different districts. If we all put a little love into these districts, whether it's clean up the spaces or just volunteering to work in a space that deals with young kids or deals with mental health, we have so many opportunities to keep seeing our city shine. It's not going to just be, as we can see, we can't just leave it up to the politicians and the people that's making the moves at the top, because they don't have all the answers, because they don't really engage. If they don't engage, they won't understand. But for the ones that do come down here and engage, that we see at the Atkinson Parks, at the Lincoln Parks, at the Kearns or whatever park you want to mention, that's across the city. um we all have to make sure that we are doing our part and finding a way to enhance our city and enhance our community and our village as well. So I want to just keep on tapping in. What are some of the moves? What are some of the things that y'all see? Y'all been in the community, and we've been talking about some of the youth violence and some of the things that's been going on with the youth. Just to circle back to that, what have y'all been seeing from you working with the youth? You work with the youth. What is it looking like, and what are some of the things like Sedan has said? We need more opportunities and or activities for them. How do y'all feel about not only just what he said, or how do you feel about the lack of resources and events and things for the youth here that could cut some of the extra violence?
And particularly events and activities for our older kids.
Yeah.
So it seems like there's something. If you have a younger child, there's something for you everywhere. There's a camp. Even in thinking about like the backpacks, most of the backpack giveaways, they're geared towards the younger kids. I had a conversation with Kelly Felder, and her goal was to do backpacks for high school kids, because
Nice.
she said people always forget about them,
That's
and
real.
we do.
That's
And
real.
so I think a lot of the activities and events, we need to have more things around them. I know Zoe, I cannot remember her last name, but she did something in the park last week, a prayer in the park for youth praying over youth. But just if we could tap into some of the to the young people that want to lead, the young people that have a positive something going on, and have them create more events and activities that will draw in that crowd and their age group. Because I mean, they're out here just kind of doing nothing.
Yeah.
And so they need something positive. They need some more guidance. They need some direction. Even though we think when you get to a certain age, you know better. You should know this. They don't. They still need something. So
yeah, those social skills still need sharpening. I mean, the frontal lobe, when it comes to it, doesn't really mature until after like 23, 24, maybe in certain cases 25, depending on your brain and what your genetics. It could take longer to mature. So you see a lot of young adults still acting like 15, 16, 17-year-olds, and they 21 to 24, 25, because some of those social skills were thrown off due to the pandemic. You know, you sit in the house 3-4 years and you ain't really talk to nobody but somebody that's shooting all type of garbage into your brain. You gonna spew that garbage back out into the city. So yeah, you're right. I totally agree that we need more action for 15 to 23, 24-year-olds, whatever we could do to add more community based, and even just more people that come in and engage with them in a more severe situation. Show some more like, a polished, like scare straight, but with like cultural therapeutic sessions in between to kind of like let folks know the results and the consequences of all the bull crap. Because I think some people, like you said, if they're not mature, they don't understand the consequences, because we see too many of the same repetitive things going on, and it has, besides like not having, what we know is people not at home being able to take care of them and not show them the proper way to grow. It's just like a lack of understanding of like comprehension too, which I think is a big thing. And I think it has to be, if the schools missed it, then it has to be somewhere in not just one organization, but tens and 20s of organizations that can help redirect some of the bad choices being made out here. So Brandon, your turn, sir.
Like she said, like y'all both kind of hit on the same way, the same track I was going down. I think they need more like trainings at a younger age. Like we need to show them how to be integrated into society correctly. Like, but we still need to let them express themselves and let them know that sometimes you do have to have tough conversations with people and be yourself. But
bump your head,
right, you gonna bump your head. You gonna bump your head, and y'all gonna bump heads. You gonna bump your head, and you and others will bump heads. But at the end of the day, you got to learn how to work through that.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to be real with people and have those real, honest conversations. Because a lot of times we sugarcoat things for them and make them think that when you upset or something, you're not supposed to approach something a certain way. And at the end of the day, man, we all human, man. And something upsetting you, man, you have to figure it out with that person that you got that issue with, So we just got to let them be themselves, man. And we do need to train them on, just more things about, being better integrated in the community. Just trainings.
Yeah. I say intense life skills and knowledge based training, and that reflects not what they need to know to be great just locally, but ways that they can push out to other spaces across the city and across the state and across the country, to not just be boxed into a city of Milwaukee or a district or a zip code. We got outstanding people all across the city. We want to keep creating that, and make Milwaukee attractive, not just because it's stolen. You don't want to, scaring people to come away because we see all these issues. We want to be able to say, hey, we got these outstanding groups of minorities that's killing things, and a lot of that they're gonna start right here working with y'all, and y'all already doing it in a space. So what y'all doing and y'all organizations and what Sedan's doing, his organizations, and everybody we interview is a great step, and we already on the right path. I definitely want to thank y'all for coming through. Y'all got any wrap ups for the folks out there? Anything we need to let them know? We got about less than 5 minutes. We got like 2-3 minutes.
We'll be at Atkinson Park August 23rd. One of the community members putting together pretty much a block party that he always threw. We bringing it back this year with the help of some other community organizations, man. So shout out to Tunky, man, and everybody who's available to come out on August 23rd. We'll see you at Atkinson Park, hopefully.
Nice. Okay. All right, Tyra, what's up with you? You got anybody shout out? Go ahead and let it go.
Any shout outs? Oh, huge shout out though to my family.
Yeah.
They were a huge help on Saturday, making sure, keeping me grounded and making sure everything was running in place. I mean, calling people, asking them, hey, can you come do this? A lot of the resource tables that were out there, that was family and friends. Next year, hoping to get a whole lot more resources, but like Living Made Easy. That was through my cousin Marthea Bell, the melanated realtor, thanking her for coming out, Latasha Dawson.
Nice.
Supreme Life Wellness and Resources. I did tell her I would say that. She was out there doing blood pressure checks and giving people information on getting CPR certification, Liberty Tax out there, handing out book bags, water, snacks, direct transportation services, signing people up. That particular transportation service, her specialty is getting people out there to visit incarcerated family members.
Yeah, and that's important because a lot of people haven't been able to get out there. Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So
shout out Atkinson, USA.
Yes. Absolutely. Got to shout out to ATK for sure. So we are wrapping up another Monday with great guests. I want to say thank y'all for everybody. Sedan, Brandon, Tyra, all coming through. We'll be back tomorrow with more guests, more hot topics, and more community related topics. Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices. God bless y'all. Be safe.